This is your show.
Well, Eric, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me, sitting down, because here we are, 2-year journey mark, and I'm closing out a chapter.
You are.
And, first thing first, it's just been a pleasure working here at WBF News alongside a lot of great people, and we both know this journey has not been the easiest, but something that's definitely been well worth it, and something that's definitely been a learning lesson, a learning experience, I should say.
So let's back it up just for a taste here, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this was like your first job out of college, right?
This is the first everything, first job, and then
we gotta say first news job.
Yeah,
out of
there we go.
college,
Yeah,
because it's not your first job ever.
literally, but no.
Yeah.
And then it's to the point where it was, like I said, kind of was the first everything. You know, being that it was still the height of COVID. You know, we were just wrapping that up in a sense.
Yeah.
And from the internship being fully virtual to not really having the real interactions, to shadow reporters, to even know what real deadlines look like, and then to come here, get hired, and then just be expected to know what to do and just go do it. Bro, I was lost.
Yeah.
Deer in headlights for sure.
Yeah.
I was lost, man.
Yeah. So tell everybody when you actually started.
So I started March 2022, March 14th, and so.
Yeah.
Here we are, almost 2 years later, and yeah.
So kind of talk to us about what brought you here. Was it the opportunity? How'd you get the job?
Yeah, so graduated from UNC Pembroke, interned with WTVD, ABC 11, and I just wanted an opportunity. Like, I was this kid, right out of college, just praying, because for the longest, like, I put on my YouTube channel just along my journey, like, hey, I want to be a reporter. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to get there. And so it started with, of course, making a reel, but of course, the height of COVID, didn't even know what that really looked like. So doing all it took, and from the assignments that I learned at UNC Pembroke to get me here. Had a few mentors along the way, some recruiters through Gray as well. And I've heard of a position opening here in Myrtle Beach.
Was that through a recruiter?
Yeah,
Okay.
recruiter, and also a fraternity brother too. And so just worked hand in hand. And next thing you know, Myrtle Beach was hiring, and here we are.
We mentioned Matt Stanley's the one who hired you, right?
Yes.
So he's the news director here. And initially, I mean, because I remember my first TV job. That was several years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember what that nervousness looked like, and I remember what that anxiousness looked like.
Yeah.
But I also remember what the optimism that I had looked like. I mean, for me, and this is not about me, it's about you.
Yeah, no.
But what I will say though, for me is the fact that I, as a child, was an avid news watcher. So I used to watch a newscast and pay attention to the way that the reporters would turn and look at the cameras, the different camera shots. In my bathroom, I was setting up, you have that medicine cabinet.
For
behind
sure.
the mirror.
Bring it out.
You
bring it out just a little bit.
taste.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, just a taste.
Just
You
a little
turn
bit.
it,
Just
and
a
then
little bit.
I was in the mirror here, and I was turning here, and I was doing this and doing that. You know what I mean? All the while kind of anticipating, an opportunity to come. And this was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, when I got that first job, I was like, you know what, I got this in the bag, and this, I don't have to leave LA, like, this is it, like, and all this other stuff. And for me, the reality is that, you do sometimes have to leave, LA and really get your feet wet. Yeah. And I think that I would have probably been a lot further in my career had I listened to myself and other people too who were like, nah, go, polish up, then you can come back type thing. So for you, you grew up in North Carolina, right? What area?
So I grew up from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh,
and
okay.
It's crazy you say that. So I remember at the state fair, little boy, a news anchor happened to ask me at the state fairs, you know, hey sir, what do you want to be when you grow up? And me being me, I want to be a paleontologist, you know, just obsessed with dinosaurs,
Okay.
like I'm about to go study fossils and stuff.
Yeah.
Here we are,
Yeah.
what, 25 years later, and
Yeah.
I'm a whole reporter.
Yeah.
And just crazy how full circle that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still keep in contact with that news anchor?
We took a picture back in 2018. He works at WRAL, Gerald Owens. Had to make sure I got his name right. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
We talk though about your journey here. I mean, you started in March of 22, and in a new city. I don't know if you'd ever even been to Myrtle Beach before.
Maybe, you know, visit here and there, you know,
Right.
as teenagers and, you know,
early
20s.
Yeah. So you're basically a fish out of water.
Yeah, literally.
You get here and it's like, wow, like I'm at a TV station. What was your first story here?
My first story, you know what's crazy? My first story was Can-Am days.
Really? Are you serious?
Literally.
We're laughing because that's his last story. Well, one of his last stories. He's got another one that's going to head out here and do. But
literally one of my last.
But your first story was Can-Am days.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
when
gosh.
I tell you, and look, I got to use it as an example.
Yeah.
Just the whole time, I'm like shaking.
Yeah.
You know, mic and all, just didn't know what I was doing.
And so for full disclosure, like you weren't live.
No.
that
Yeah,
day.
these were look live.
It was a
yeah.
look live,
But
which
still.
basically means that you're looking like you're live, but you're not. But still, you know, you're there, and that's your first rep.
First one.
And how many takes did you take?
A
million.
About 3 or 4. Had a head full of hair too.
Oh, wow.
Had a
I
head.
wouldn't go mention that, but okay.
No, it's okay. Listen, I had a head full of hair.
Yeah.
Just curious, you know, young, ready to just
Conquer the world.
Yeah,
Right?
literally.
When I started here in April of 22. And I'll tell you what, I don't remember meeting you initially when I first got here.
I don't either.
I remember hearing your name, but I don't remember me. I don't
Like the
actually,
formal-
like, hey, like I don't even really know when that happened. Only because I don't remember when that happened because I came in and I was training, if you will, dayside.
Yeah.
But that was only maybe for like a couple mornings or a couple days, and then I was nightside for the rest. And then that's where I've been. And so I don't remember our initial meet where you were like, I'm Samuel Shelton, but I know it was because my desk was over on the other side where you were. And I don't, do you remember? Do you remember any of that?
I tell you what.
Uh-huh.
I'm Samuel Shelton.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very nice to meet you. I remember. I think when I'd gotten your number or something like that.
Maybe for like a story lead or.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but you know, I think I put it in my personal phone, and I was like, you know, I might have said something like Sammy or something like that. You were like, no, it's Samuel.
Oh, whew.
And I was like,
Let me tell y'all
Okay.
this right now. That name Sam. Oh, it does something to my spirit. But
why is that?
because I mean, so growing up, I was called Sammy, and that was my nickname, Sammy. And so I feel like Sam just was never me. That just never described me. It just didn't fit the bill. And so when I hear the name Sam, it makes me cringe almost. And so like I correct people immediately.
He sure
At least,
did.
At least
He
I
sure
try,
did.
I try my best
Yeah.
to make sure I let it be known that
Yeah.
hi, my name is Samuel. Like you can call me Samuel, you can call me Sammy, but
Not Sam.
anything but Sam.
I was like, Sam. He's like, no, Samuel. But, you know, and I respected that. And I never called you Sam again, that is for sure. You know, talking a little bit about your time here. You've obviously, and I don't know if you really realize this, but you have made an impact on this community just by being you. I mean, you've been able to host a few things, I think, or MC a few events here. You've also been able to make some great contacts within the community. Did you? Is that something that you kind of set out to do?
No, honestly, like, well, I'll tell you this. I at least wanted to tell stories that I knew that would help change lives in a sense. So I guess, you know, to answer that question, yeah, but did I think it would have that type of effect? Or did I know that me going out into the community and like literally being myself, or like putting every empathetic part of my being throughout into the world and into other people, that they would really take that and connect with it? Because, you know, we got, I hope it's okay to say, you know, I have, you know, competition, you know, competitors and stuff saying like, Samuel, like, you do a really, really good job. Like, you're able to talk to the mom, you know, knowing she just lost her child. You know, you're able to talk to the sister, you know, knowing she just lost her brother. And just being able to get that type of, you know, impact, but also you just sit down with people and, you know, just have that effect was really. And really,
realistically, it is empathy. And a lot of people talk about the fact that you got to separate yourself from the story. But we're human beings before anything else. We're human beings. So, of course, things are going to make us emotional. You know, if it doesn't make you emotional, then there's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But being able to have that connection with someone who's gone through some type of tragedy, it's not only great for TV, because yes, it is, but it also lets that person know, that, you know, you hear them and you understand. You know what I mean? And that's an important quality to have. That I think that a lot of the newer people in this business don't get that. Don't have that.
And one thing, just thinking about it, and you know, as we're talking about it, one thing somebody said just the other day, you know, sometimes you're able to do some of the things you do because you lived through it. Like you're walking testimony. Like I've lost a brother, I've lost a sister. I know what it's like to see my mom lose 2 children. You know what I'm saying? So it just being, you know, just a product of some of these environments just kind of made all the difference to help tell that type of story. So
what are some of the highlights for you here?
Some of the highlights, for sure, my top one, God, just gotta put it out there. Being a deer in the headlights going live. And
is a highlight for you.
Yeah, because I mean, it made me who I am today. And just thinking about like one of my last times on air, being how like, wow, that Samuel 2 years ago couldn't even stand here and do what I just did. Or knowing that, you know, technology is technology. Being that one day, you know, the system crashed. So you're trying to edit content to send back to the station, that's not working. You're trying to get into your script before 30 seconds before you go live, that's not happening. Well, Samuel, what do? Well, you ain't about to go out here and look a fool again. So it was like, sir, you got to deliver. Like, one, this is breaking news. We just got the verdict of what happened. You got to tell these people what happened.
Right.
And so for me, I was like, listen, I might not have a script, but at least know what went on inside the courtroom. And so just being able to have the confidence, you know, pray, honestly, just keep God on my side and just carry me through this journey. That's a highlight within itself, because I know 6 months in, I was like, listen, God, if this isn't for me, just say it. Listen, I'll figure things out and go from there.
And so we can talk about that for a second here, because I think this is a no holds barred
for sure.
conversation. Just pick up your mic just a little bit there. Gotcha. But there was a point for you where you were like, you know what? Maybe I need to leave. Maybe I need to just quit and go home or do something else, because you had hit somewhat of a rough patch.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I just felt like I was just that rough patch, and it wasn't getting no clearer. And to the point where, one, I had to pray, and I had to really, just do some, I guess, self-evaluation. Like, one, just realize, like, okay, what is it that's going to help you get to the next level? If that's more practice, if that's finding ways to work on time management to make sure, you meet every single deadline, every single slot, you do that. If you need to stay after to, sit down with an anchor or just even, consult mentors, figure that out. And that's what I had to do. I just had to feel like, first see what was working, what wasn't working. Then eventually, one, we get an Emmy.
Right.
We shared that. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But just being able to figure out, the root of the problem, and then and go from there.
Do you remember? Because we talked about this when you were like, bro, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
Do you remember what I told you?
I know for one, you always told me that I deserve to be here. I remember that for sure. And just tell me that it would get better. And I mean, that's where we are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it got better eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and we all kind of go through situations like this where you hit a rough patch.
Oh, yeah.
Whether your stories fall through, whether you're having technical issues, whatever the circumstances. I mean, we all kind of hit that rough patch, and you hit that. And, I always, for whoever it is, I'm like, things will get better. If I've been through it, you can get through it too. You know what I mean? And so I think that the way I always kind of looked at things is I'm gonna have to deal with it somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's the first job or the last job, I'm gonna have to deal with it at some point. So why don't I deal with it now, get that out the way, so that I don't have to deal with it again?
Amen.
You know what I mean? And so I'm glad that you worked out a lot of that stuff. We talk about the Emmy because this is an accomplishment. Number one, it's your first Emmy. And we won't really discuss everybody else that was associated with that, only because I got it too. But it's not about me. It's not about any of us that really were on that were in that category. We're talking specifically about you. And this was a milestone for a number of different reasons. Number one, because it's your first one. Number two, because it's the station's first one.
It's history.
And this station, if people aren't familiar, this station launched in 2008. So it hasn't even been around that long. And for you and the rest of the team here on the News at 6 to receive the Emmy, it's huge. That solidifies your place in history for this station. And you always remember your first one.
Oh, for sure.
So kind of tell people how you got that.
Well, of course, we were talking about Brittany Drexel and Raymond Moody. But so happened that I was also on air right after. And I may not have covered that initial story. I was there, and of course, along the way, I told a story right after the fact of the general news of the day.
Well, I think what you mean to say is that this was an Emmy nomination for our News at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Our News at 6 o'clock that day had led with Brittany Drexel,
There we go.
which was a girl who was from upstate New York, who came down here for spring break 13 years prior, and she never went home because she was taken, sexually assaulted, and then killed. Taken from Myrtle Beach to Georgetown, sexually assaulted, and then killed. And so our News at 6 was the essential conclusion to that story, where the person responsible confessed to the crime, his name Raymond Moody. And so because this was not a standalone special, this was a part of our News at 6 o'clock that had team coverage. Anyone who was associated with that 6 o'clock show was put in that category. So you had a story that was outside of the Moody coverage,
Talking about
the Moody
Michelle.
Drexel
Yep.
coverage, but still, because you were a part of the 6 o'clock show, you know, you were a part of that nomination as well. So the nomination technically was for the News at 6, not just for
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
the Drexel Moody coverage. That just so happened that coverage led that newscast. So we were clear on that. It's about the show at 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And so whenever you think about the fact that, oh, well, I wasn't on the Drexel coverage, blah, blah, blah. No, you were part of that show. And you've been a part of every show, essentially, even on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't really get an opportunity to go up there and say your piece about winning and all that stuff, because our executive producer had done that on behalf of everybody there at the award show. But, you know, you basically essentially have an opportunity now to pick that up and to say, you know, what you would have said on that stage in winning that.
Well, this award goes to show not only the world, but show myself that I deserve to be right where I am. And it just solidifies that everything that I've done along this journey wasn't ingrained. And, you know, I don't take that in vain. Oh gosh, in vain, in vain. There we go, in vain. I'm gonna get it right.
Yeah.
In vain.
Yeah.
And I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
And
For me, when I look at mine, because I have mine on next to the TV in my house, and next to one of the TVs in my house, I should say. And when I look at it, it's a motivating factor for me to continue, you know? And I hope that's the same for you. I know that you have dreams beyond news. And tell the folks what some of those dreams are.
well, I look to at least one day have my own TV show to host, content create, go into entertainment, whether that's, you know, red carpet, and just, I don't know. I want God to take me, use me, and just amplify that. So
See,
however that looks, you know.
I can see you doing a talk show. I can see you doing a talk show. I can see you doing a game show. I can see you doing an entertainment show. I can see those things for you, because if you don't know anything about Samuel, he's got a personality that is, I mean, you can see it right now. He's got a personality that is larger than news.
Oh yeah.
And so,
And I don't think the world has seen that. So, because you know, it's a time and place for everything.
Right. And he's not crazy.
I'm not crazy. Yeah. I
got a very, very robust personality.
There you go. Yeah.
And so, you know, I can see you doing one of those one day. What I would have mentioned if we had been on the air, to actually have like a formal goodbye and all of that stuff. What I would have mentioned on the air is that I kind of envision, you know, you hosting those things. And I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but this is just how I kind of envision it too, which is that I would own the network at which your show would be on.
Listen.
I'm just saying right now. I'm just gonna call it right now.
Listen.
That is kind of something that I would have I envision.
Okay.
Because, you know, I also have, you know, aspirations outside of news one day, you know, and I think that in seeing others do it, and I'm talking about the Byron Allens, I'm talking about the Tyler Perrys, you know, I'm talking about the Oprah Winfreys, you know, I'm talking even about Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey owns his own show, and that's why he's still able to do the show, even though, you know, network canceled him twice. So it's like when you own yourself, you can do whatever you want, and that's a conversation. That's a conversation for a later date, but. It's like I learned that by watching them. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll own a network one day. I'll put this brother on there.
I'll be there.
And make history.
I'll be there.
So as we kind of close out this conversation here, what I just would like to convey to you is that you have been the coworker that everybody needs. Because you're able to make people laugh. Even when you're mad, you're funny. And that is a very interesting quality to have, you know? but
Y'all ain't gonna believe it.
you know what I mean? It's just always, can you believe this? You call me up, be like, oh, man, look at this, look at that, and I'm like, okay, but you have been able to turn even the most negative situations into a positive one.
Yeah.
And I told you this yesterday, and I'll tell you again, don't give up on news just yet. I think that if you give it one more station, give it another 2 years somewhere, maybe up there at home, or Tennessee, okay? Think about Tennessee. That local 3 doing some things over there. Cornelia Nicholson is over there. She's a good friend of mine. And just give it one more station, I think, because I think that anyone who has had aspirations to do things outside of news started in news. And I'm talking about Regis Philbin, who was a talk show host. May he rest in peace. I met him in LA.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
He was on a local ABC affiliate before transitioning to talk show. Pat Sajak was on the NBC affiliate in Los Angeles before getting Wheel of Fortune. Rolanda Watts, if you don't know who that is, Google her.
Okay.
Because she started at Eyewitness News in New York. She eventually went on to have her own talk show, nationally syndicated talk show. And of course, Oprah Winfrey started in news before getting her nationally syndicated talk show. She was local talk and then blew up.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think having that news background and just being able to figure out the behind the scenes of, the camera, the this, the that, deadlines.
Oh, certainly.
Getting your people to talk for your story is like getting people to talk for your talk show, booking, all that other stuff. I mean, it's a great tool to have in your toolbox when you transition to those roles. Even those entertainment shows have deadlines.
Yeah.
And they're not live per se, but they can be live to tape sometimes.
Yeah.
So, in order to do that, though, you got to be in LA, you got to be in New York, or you got to be in Atlanta. Maybe a little bit of Connecticut, but news would get you there a little quicker. That's just my opinion. You don't have to listen to me. You're looking at me like I ain't doing that.
I'm gonna say this.
I'm
just listening to him.
Yeah.
I'm listening to him.
The Lord will tell you what to do.
And this year, I said 2024.
He ain't gonna listen to me.
No.
Just kidding.
I'm taking a leap of faith. I'm taking a leap of faith this year.
Yeah. So what is next for you?
Next, honestly, I'm going home. Just take a quick little, quick little break.
Yeah.
And then hit the ground running again.
Yeah, because I think everybody should know also he's been home like every weekend for the past 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. I'm like, you might as well just.
Where you at, Samuel?
Oh, I'm at home. I came up real quick. This, that, and thing. I'm like, dude, I thought you were here this weekend. So, but that's good. Being with family is definitely a good thing. Yeah. As we wrap up here, I'm going to give you the final 2 minutes to ask me anything that you want to ask. This is your talk show, so you're gonna ask me anything you want for the last 2 minutes here, and I'm gonna talk as if I'm your guest. Okay?
Okay.
So make it good. This is ad lib.
Well, Eric, first and foremost, what would you say it's like being an African American male in journalism?
Whew, gosh, you're hitting it with the with the serious question. I will say this. It doesn't. Shoot, what am I trying to say? See, thank you. What I'm trying to say here is that I don't take anything for granted, and it's a privilege to be in this position and do what I do, because no matter how many faces that we see on TV, there aren't enough faces of ours that are on TV now. And growing up just outside of Los Angeles, when I was growing up, there were a lot of faces that looked like mine on TV. And then as time went on, as I got older, as I got into middle school, those faces started to dwindle off of the air. And so by the time I got to high school, it was like, okay, where's everybody? Where are we at? There was a little shift in Los Angeles where you saw more other minorities, if you will, kind of transitioned into TV, and then our faces weren't on there anymore, and it was a shock to me, you know. And a lot of people got out of the business for the reasons that they did, but I said, you know what, more of our faces need to be on TV, and that's one of the many reasons why, you know, I decided to do this. But it is a privilege to do this job. I look forward to telling more of our stories, you know, wherever I'm at. You know, I haven't necessarily been able to do too much of that here, and the reason for that is just because of the shift that I work. So, you know, the shift that I work is a majority of meetings and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, well, this is the direction you have to go, but I do look forward to sharing more stories like that. All right, next question.
Okay. And so when it comes to opportunity, what's one thing you would tell your younger self or a younger person that may look like you when it comes to just seeking opportunity that may not be right there granted right then and there, but there's hope? What would you say?
So I would tell my younger self, if I had the opportunity to tell my younger self, I would say, self, you need to step outside of Los Angeles, get your feet wet, and then you can get where you want to be. I mentioned this before, where it was a situation where opportunities had came earlier on in my career, but I did not want to move. I did not want to leave family there in LA. I didn't want to, because I said, you know what? I'm in LA already. Why do I have to leave just to come back? Like, I was stubborn, and I think that if I'd taken a couple of those opportunities, I'd be, you know, in a different place right now in my career. But I also am cognizant of the fact that everything happens for a reason. And I think that I was not really in a place to accept those opportunities, if you get what I'm saying. Like, maybe I needed to grow up a little more. Maybe I needed a little more world experience in order to appreciate the opportunity. I'm at a place now where I'm cool, calm, and collected because I can appreciate the opportunity. I'm mature enough to get it. Like, back then, I look at myself as not being so mature, and would have went somewhere else and probably messed things up. You know what I mean? So everything happens for a reason. I would just tell myself to bide your time. And for the young ones that are coming up, I encourage them to never stop learning, but also remember that you have to know something in order to do this. And it's not always the fast track. You know, people are able to advance in TV markets now faster than before, than decades ago. It doesn't necessarily mean, though, that you should be on that fast track, because a lot of people have to make their mistakes in order to learn from them and then be polished and where they want to be, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, thank you for coming on my show, sir. Thank you so very much.
I'm glad we were able to do this. We were trying to do this for a while.
A little minute.
Yes, we're trying to do a sit down for a minute here, and I wish you really the best of luck. I don't know. I think this is the last time I'm gonna see you, to be completely honest, because I'm only here Monday and Tuesday of this week, and then I'm gone for the rest of the week, and that'll be it. But I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
You keep you keep pushing along, and I will definitely tune in to see what's next for you. But you always keep in touch, and it's on record, so you better keep in touch. I'm telling you.
I will.
Any final things you want to say?
It's just been a pleasure to work here. Like, I got that opportunity, and I always had to think about the starting, because along the way, of course, this journey may not have been the prettiest, but a voice from friends in general say, hey, listen, before you go up, giving up, or before you start complaining about, how your journey is going, just remember, you prayed to be here. And that's something that, I can't take for granted, because everything that I've done, good, bad, indifferent, like I've learned a lot. I'm taking a lot with me, a better editor, better shooter, photographer, you know what I'm saying, what to do in front of the camera, and, how to make things look even better from behind. So I don't take any of that for granted.
Any regrets?
not speaking up sooner. And I say that because just knowing that I deserve every opportunity as everyone else, here at the station. And I think just being able to, one, have that conversation with management, when I did, it was just letting them know that, wow, he is really serious about his craft. He is really serious about getting better, and why not allow him to have more opportunities to grow? So,
anything you would have done differently?
No, just not have a virtual internship. But I mean, anything I would have done differently?
Had you watched news before jumping into this?
As a child, but my older self, not as much. But I knew that there was something there. Like I started out at a magnet elementary school, and so I was the kid on the morning announcements, and got my start at Powell Elementary, and that's what led me here. I double majored in theater, and then mass comm, and so I was like, I don't necessarily. And I'm just saying this is my opinion. I didn't think I necessarily needed a degree for the theater route. So you know what? I want to tackle journalism head on and see where that takes me, and that's where we are here today.
Wow, learning a whole lot in the span of what 40 minutes or so that we've been talking here. But I mean, our conversation could of course continue if this were not the last day. You'll of course come back and visit from time to time, right?
For sure. For sure. And I still have family here. So my line brother lives in Myrtle Beach as well. So definitely coming back. And then his son actually has a birthday party in April. So
Oh, so you'll be back for that. That's fantastic. And then of course, if any of your stuff gets nominated,
listen.
Yeah.
I think I got one more in me.
A good bookend. Excuse me, a good bookend. That would be good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that pretty much is it. Is there anything else?
No, just it's been a pleasure meeting you. It's been a pleasure working here. A pleasure telling great stories from the Grand Strand to the PD. And
okay, he was in the PD.
Oh, listen, I should have been the PD bureau reporter because
he learned early on that the further you go, the less people bother you.
Let me tell you something. Any chance I don't have to be in that morning meeting? Oh.
He was out there.
I volunteer as tribute.
Shoot, I would go to Florence.
I'm going to Florence.
Marion.
Darlington.
Jeez, this brother was all over the place.
Never at this station. I'm already on my story for today.
Right. So yeah, a very good luck to you, sir, and we definitely will see where you end up and all of that good stuff.
Certainly, this is not goodbye, as they say. It's only
it's goodbye, but it's a see you later goodbye.
It's a see you later goodbye. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Horry County, Samuel Shelton, WBF News.
Oh my God, you're gonna be all damn right.